Hey everybody, I'm Dara Connolly and I wanted to make a video to help you prevent bullying for the young person in your life. And this is really for the parents, teachers, caregivers. If you're a sports instructor and you work with youth, this video is made for you to help prevent the young people in your life from being bullied. If you're new to my video and you've never seen me before and have no idea who I am, I work with women specifically to speak up to bullies and prevent abusers and predators from harming you. I've been doing this work since 2004. I started my company called Kurukula, and my work is endorsed by the Albany Police Department as well as doctors and therapists nationwide. So by the end of this video, I'm going to give you actionable steps you can use because there's a lot of information about what to do about bullying and how it happens, but what do you do about it? How do you prevent it? So let's be clear first off of what bullying is. It is intentional aggression that happens when there's a power dynamic. That could be older sibling to younger, parent, teacher, family member to youth. And remember, bullying isn't just verbal. It could be physical, obviously. It could be relational. It could be digital, which we're seeing a huge trend in right now. So let's say you're a parent. Let's start there. And you're concerned and you want to prevent your child from being bullied. I'm going to give you 3 specific tools, and then if we have time, I'll throw in a bonus tip at the end. The number one way you can prevent it is to keep the communication lines open with your child. Are you finding out what's going on with them during their day? The more you can get your child to talk about what's happening and really listen, the less likely they're going to be isolated or socially outcast. And those are the kids that unfortunately get targeted because everybody's leaving them alone. The teachers aren't checking in with them. Drop them off for a soccer class, soccer team, nobody's checking in with them. You see a kid that's alone or isolated and maybe is quiet or isn't a part of the group, you need to do a little bit extra work as the adult to get involved and find out what's going on. Who are their friends? So how do you do that? Your kid comes home from school and what do we say? Hey, sweetie, how was your day? Good. Wrong question, Mom. I've done it too, but we need to be careful with the questions we ask. So powerful questions are, what was something good, sweetie, that happened today? What was something bad? And then you're quiet and you listen without judgment. Don't interject with, oh, you let that happen? Why would you do that? No. Quiet as can be and be supportive. Let them know that whatever's happen's okay. You can maybe throw in a story if it's a story about something similar that's happened to you when you were young. So it humanizes it and they know, wow, Mom's been through this too. I had no idea. But no judgment, no blame. And it's helpful if you get down on their level, right? You kneel down, get eye to eye with them. When you have that authoritative stance and you're standing over your child and they're intimidated, I'm going to be judged, here we go again. Remember, they just came home from 7 hours of sitting at school and the teacher's standing above them. And then they come home and they have the parent reprimanding them. Put your stuff away. Why'd you throw your backpack on the floor? It's constant. And who's at their level? Their peers may be at their level, but they get teased from their peers. Kids are mean to each other sometimes. So they need somebody on their side. You get down to the level. Hey, sweetie, what was lunchtime like today? Who'd you sit with? Ask open-ended questions and really listen. Oh, really? Charlie? You like him, right? He's funny? And let them talk. What'd you guys talk about? And give this, I'm here for you no matter what. When you come from that place, a soft place like that, they're more likely to tell you things. And be creative in the questions you ask. Change it up. How was the bus ride to school today? What was it like? And I like to encourage my kids to raise their hand in class because I was the quiet kid and I didn't like doing that. So I encourage them to do that. What question did you ask today? So think of things that challenge them and then what happens is they get in the routine. When you pick them up, they know you're going to ask them the question, so they'll try like, oh, I better raise my hand today because I know Mom's going to ask me what question I asked or what new friend I made. So giving them little prompts of where you're going to ask them after school, then they will try hard to have information for them. Now, the second tip, besides asking questions and keeping lines of communication open, is being open to what they like to do. And as a parent, it's your job to observe the natural abilities that your child has and encourage that as much as possible. And when they do things that they like, they build their self-esteem, build their confidence, they're less likely to be bullied. Remember, we're trying to prevent the bully. It's a lot easier to prevent it than to deal with it. So let's prevent it. Whatever activity it is, be supportive of it. And now we go into what happens at home. Okay, so the third tip, this is a little bit more involved, is are you creating positive behaviors and role models at home? Right? Do you yell at your kid every time they don't clean their room? Or let the siblings fight with each other? Whatever behaviors are happening at home are going to be modeled and repeated at school. So we need to show kindness and respect in how we treat each other. I have this story that just happened recently when my kid was at another kid's house at a play date, and I went to pick him up, and they were in elementary school at the time. And I pulled up, and this is crazy that this even happened. I talk about it in my book too. The dad was in the street having an argument with a neighbor because I guess what happened was the boys were playing basketball and maybe the neighbor didn't like it. It was too loud or something. So here is this dad who is screaming, and he was in the face of this elderly woman. And they were arguing, and she wasn't trying to argue. Her body language was like, I'm done here. I just wanted to let you all know I need to go to sleep or whatever's going on. And he was in her face cursing at her. Now, the crazy part is all the boys that were at his house to play are standing around watching this adult model this aggressive, threatening behavior, which is not okay. Do you know a few years later, his son, that dad's son, grew up to be the school bully? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? So are we modeling good behaviors? Kids learn through our learned behaviors. If you make your home a bully-free home, your child's less likely to grow up to be the bully, and I have videos on that. How do you know if your kid's a bully? As well as less likely to be bullied because they won't be used to that authoritative behavior at home of constant yelling and force and harsh punishment and reprimand. Kids who grow up in those homes are more willing to tolerate abuse, whether it's in a schoolyard, at work, or a relationship when they're older. And it's important to be aware of this because 1 in 3 teens are in an unhealthy relationship, an abusive relationship. The other step of being a parent who models good behavior at home is, are you doing your due diligence to check in on your child when they're on technology? I know kids today, all day long, their head is down and they're on their phone or their iPad or whatever, but do you know what they're looking at? Are you getting involved with them? Find out what YouTube videos they're watching or what music they're listening to or what websites they're looking at. Not again in an interrogation style, but just be like, wow, when I was a kid, we used to listen to this. What are you guys listening to? And be involved with the music. Get into it, because what happens is if it's all them alone on this technology, you will have no idea if they're being bullied on social media. And so many kids are. Remember, the tools we're using, phones and all these laptops, were invented for adults to do work while they travel, not for kids. These are not kid tools. So if you have a child who is on this technology and you have no idea what they're looking at, you are opening the door for them to be exposed to things that are inappropriate. So you need to monitor their activity that's online. And the way I do that is they drop off their phones at night, and their laptops are in my bedroom so they cannot sneak and be on it. And of course you can set perimeters on the screen time that they use and which websites they're allowed to use. You know, Apple doesn't even, when Steve Jobs invented the phone, he didn't even let his own kid use it until age 14. So there should be restrictions on it. So make sure you're doing that as an adult. protecting your child. And the other part of this is, and I talk about this in other videos too, my Vowels video, I talk about this, of how to prevent bullies, is create an alliance with the other parents. And this is easier today because a lot of parents are involved in schools and co-oping and helping out and walking their kids to school, etc. Get to know the other parents, because together you can watch out for who the bullies are and talk to the other parents together. The alliance is not so much of you against them. I want to create more of an inclusive circle. I always tell my kids, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you should be friendly to everybody. So the more friends they have, the bigger supportive circle. We're not going to exclude anyone, the whole birthday party thing. You don't have to invite everybody if you're not friends with them, but you should be friendly with everyone. It's important. The bigger alliance we have, the more likely you're going to be bullied. So hopefully these tips have been useful to you. To recap, it's keep lines of communication open. Make sure at home you're modeling healthy behaviors that show respect and how you treat each other. And setting boundaries with your child as far as technology and being supportive with the activities they love, and creating an alliance with their friends and the other parents. I think that was at least 5 tips. So you got a few extra ninja tips in there. Hopefully that was useful to you. If it is, please click the subscribe button and check out my other videos. The one I'm making on an effective way to prevent bullying and harassment will give you specific tips on how to speak up if you're ever in a bad situation. You can also contact me for one-on-one coaching or workshops. I do speaking engagements. I'm here to help you. Till then, be empowered.